Worry is the illusion of control. It makes you feel like if you stress enough, plan enough, and obsess over every detail, you'll somehow make things work out faster. But worrying doesn't make God move any quicker. If anything, it reveals where we've stopped trusting and started taking matters into our own hand. God doesn't respond to panic. He responds to peace. He doesn't move when we spiral. He moves when we stand. Faith is not the absence of concern. It's the decision to trust God in spite of concern. It's the confidence to say, I don't see the full picture, but I know the painter. Faith says, even if I don't understand, I will still believe. Even if I don't have all the answers, I trust the one who does. That's what makes faith powerful. It anchors you while the storm is still raging. To see. We've been conditioned by this world to believe that hustle is holy, that stress is a sign of significance, that burnout is the price of breakthrough. But that's a lie. God doesn't need your anxiety to fulfill his assignment in your life. He needs your agreement. He's not asking you to stress over the timing. He's asking you to trust his sovereignty. When you let go of the belief that you're the one holding everything together, you begin to realize it was never your job to begin with. That's God's role. You were never meant to carry the full weight of your destiny. That weight belongs to him. Worry and faith can't hold hands. One will always push the other out. When you feed your faith, worry loses its grip. But when you feed your worry, faith fades into the background. You can't serve both. You have to make a decision. Will you walk by sight or walk by faith? Will you trust the whispers of fear or the promises of God? Faith is not passive. It's not just sitting back with crossed arms. Faith is active. Faith shows up. Faith speaks life. Faith praises even when it doesn't feel like there's anything to praise for. Faith says, I may not know how this ends, but I know who holds the ending. And that kind of faith shakes heaven. That kind of faith gets God's attention, not because it's loud, but because it's rooted. There are so many people walking around with heavy hearts because they replace their prayers with panic. Instead of saying, God, I give this to you, they say, God, let me fix it for you. As if the creator of the universe needs our advice. As if the one who formed galaxies needs a reminder about our timeline. No, he's not confused. He's not behind. He's not overwhelmed. He's just waiting for you to put the burden back in his hands where it belongs. The moment you do, peace enters. The moment you surrender, clarity comes. That doesn't mean the situation immediately changes, but you change. Your posture changes. Your mindset shifts. Your energy is no longer bound to fear. It's fueled by faith. Think about it. When has worrying ever added peace to your life? When has it ever made things better? Worry robs today of its joy and tomorrow of its power. It's like rocking in a chair. It keeps you busy, but gets you nowhere. It's noise without movement. But when you shift your focus from what's going wrong to what God has promised, everything changes. Suddenly your perspective is elevated. You're no longer stuck in the weeds. You're seeing from above. That's what faith does. It lifts your eyes. Worry focuses on the problem. Faith focuses on the promise. And the more you feed the promise, the less power the problem has over your spirit. Some of you have been so busy worrying, you've forgotten how to worship. You've let anxiety steal your praise. But praise is what invites God into your situation. Praise reminds your soul who's in charge. Praise shifts the atmosphere not just around you, but within you. The enemy wants you to stay trapped in your head. God wants you to stay planted in his word. The enemy uses fear to paralyze you. God uses faith to propel you. You have a choice. Live in fear or live by faith. One leads to exhaustion. The other leads to peace. One drains you, the other sustains you. You don't have to have all the answers to trust God's direction. You don't have to know the details to follow his leading. All you need is the faith to say, God, I don't get it right now, but I trust you. And that trust moves things in the spirit. That trust sets angels in motion. That trust unlocks doors no man can shut. Because God responds to trust. He honors surrender. He rewards faith. Not faith that's perfect, not faith that never wavers, but faith that stays, faith that holds on, faith that doesn't quit, even when everything screams, give up. Maybe you're in a season right now where nothing seems to be working. You're praying, you're trying, you're showing up, but it feels like silence. That silence is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It's often a sign that he's building something deeper in you, that he's developing endurance, that he's strengthening your capacity. What feels like delay is often divine training. Don't let the silence trick you into worry. Let it deepen your worship. Let it build your faith, because the blessing that's coming is going to require more than what you have right now. It's going to require a stronger you, a wiser you, a more faith-filled you. And worry will only weaken the foundation God is trying to strengthen. So instead of pacing the floor, start standing on the Word. Instead of rehearsing all the things that could go wrong, begin declaring what God already said will go right. Instead of breaking down, start building up your spirit. How? By feeding your faith daily. By reminding yourself who you belong to. By staying rooted in prayer. By surrounding yourself with voices that lift you, not drain you. Faith isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's waking up every day and choosing to believe that God is working, even when you don't see it yet. And that belief changes the atmosphere. Worry thrives in uncertainty, but faith thrives in surrender. If you want to silence the voice of worry, you have to elevate the voice of trust. You have to speak life even when death surrounds you. You have to declare peace even in the middle of a storm. That's what separates the fearful from the faithful. Not circumstances, but choices. You choose what you believe. You choose what you focus on, and what you focus on will grow. If you focus on fear, it grows. If you focus on faith, it grows. So where are you planting your attention? What are you watering every day with your thoughts and words? Let today be the day you say, I will no longer let worry be my leader. I will no longer let anxiety be my counselor. I will trust God, not because I understand everything, but because I believe He understands everything. That's the secret to peace. Not knowing all the outcomes, but knowing the one who does. And resting in that truth is the ultimate act of faith. Because when you let go of control, you finally make room for God to take over. And when God takes over, the impossible becomes inevitable. The delay becomes destiny. The pain becomes purpose. The silence becomes a setup. All because you chose faith over fear. This is how you win your battle, not by stressing your way to the promise, but by standing in faith until it arrives. Not by trying to figure it all out, but by fixing your eyes on the one who already has it figured out. That's what moves heaven. That's what activates divine acceleration. That's what causes things to shift. Not your panic, not your overthinking, not your worry, but your unwavering belief that God is still in control and that if He wants it to happen, it will. Sometimes we run ourselves into exhaustion trying to make things happen in our own strength, on our own schedule, with our own blueprint. We lose sleep worrying about timelines, comparing ourselves to others, and wondering why something hasn't come together yet. But God doesn't operate on human clocks. Divine timing is not delayed, it's deliberate. It's not slow, it's strategic. The very thing you're stressing about may already be aligned in heaven, just waiting for the appointed time to manifest on earth. What is meant for you, what is truly written in your purpose, will not pass you by. It cannot be taken by anyone else. It doesn't expire just because it didn't happen when you thought it would. God's promises aren't fragile. They're not limited by your age, your mistakes, or your past failures. So instead of panicking over the plan, trust the process. When God is in it, delay does not mean denial. It means development. It means God is orchestrating things behind the scenes in ways you can't see and preparing you for the weight of the blessing he's about to release. You don't want it early, you want it right. And God's right time is always better than your right now. We often think that hustling harder will push the promise closer. That if we worry enough, plan hard enough, or exhaust ourselves chasing it, we can somehow speed up the arrival of what we're waiting for. But let me tell you, God is not moved by your stress. He is moved by your surrender. Worry doesn't make miracles happen. Faith does. And sometimes the greatest act of faith is to rest. Not because you've given up, but because you trust that the one who started the work will finish it. That means you can breathe even when you don't see the breakthrough yet. That means you can walk in peace even when the pieces aren't all in place. Stress is often the result of trying to carry something that only God is supposed to carry. Release it. Relax. Trust that if God wants it to happen, it will. Not a minute too late, not a moment too soon. And here's the truth. If you have to force it, it's probably not from God. What is truly from God comes with a flow. It may come with challenges, but it won't come with confusion. God is not the author of chaos. If you're constantly begging, pushing, manipulating, or draining yourself to keep something or someone in your life, you have to ask yourself, is this God ordained or self-imposed? Because when something is from God, it aligns, it clicks. It may not be easy, but it will feel divine. You won't have to compromise your peace to pursue it. You won't have to lower your standards or silence your spirit. You won't have to wear a mask or pretend to be someone you're not. God doesn't bless who you pretend to be. He blesses who you truly are. And he aligns you with opportunities that match your authenticity, not your authenticity, not your anxiety. One of the biggest signs that something is in alignment with God's will is peace. Not perfection, peace. Even if everything around you is uncertain, even if you're stepping into the unknown, there's a stillness in your spirit that says, this is right. God confirms through calm. He whispers through the wind of peace. That doesn't mean fear won't try to visit you, but it won't own you. Because peace doesn't mean the absence of pressure. It means the presence of assurance. And when God is guiding you, there will be a quiet confidence that doesn't make sense to the world, but makes total sense in your soul. So don't chase after the noisy things. Don't run toward the chaos just because it's calling your name louder. Listen for the peace. Follow it. That's where God is. There will be times when God says no, and you have to be mature enough to realize that his no is just as holy as his yes. Every closed door is not a punishment. It's protection. Some of the things you cried about not receiving would have destroyed you if you had received them. You don't see it now, but later you'll thank God for the detour, for the denial, for the door that didn't open, because behind every no is a divine not yet or a something better. Don't let temporary disappointment make you doubt eternal purpose. You're not being overlooked. You're being preserved. You're not being rejected. You're being redirected. That relationship that didn't work out, it wasn't rejection. It was God saving you from a lifetime of regret. That job that passed you up, it wasn't failure. It was God positioning you for the role that fits your future, not just your resume. So what do you do in the waiting? You rest in the knowing. You anchor yourself not in outcomes, but in obedience. You hold on to what God said even when you haven't seen it yet. This is the faith that pleases him. Not a faith that only exists when things go our way, but a faith that stays planted even when the storm hits. Can you trust God when the answer is silent? Can you still walk in purpose even when the path looks foggy? Can you still show up with excellence when there's no applause? That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. That's the kind of faith that says, God, I may not know when or how, but I know who, and that's enough. Because people will doubt you. They'll tell you you're wasting time, that your dream is unrealistic, that you should give up and get real. But listen closely. If God ordained it, no person can cancel it. Man's opinion has no power over divine instruction. What they think about you does not limit what God is doing through you. Stay focused. You're not called to convince them. You're called to obey him. And obedience always unlocks doors that logic can't. People see your present, but God sees your preparation. They judge your now, but God is setting up your next. So don't let their limited view shrink your limitless calling. What God has for you will manifest, no matter who misunderstands you. You might feel like things are moving slowly. You might be looking around wondering why others seem to be advancing while you're still waiting. But delay is not denial, it's development. When God makes you wait, he's also making you stronger. He's building resilience, sharpening your discernment, and deepening your dependence on him. The longer the wait, the greater the weight of what's coming. You're not just waiting for a blessing, you're being shaped to carry it well. Because unprepared success can become a curse. But when God takes time to prepare you, he's not being cruel, he's being kind. He's preparing a version of you that's ready, grounded, humble, and wise enough not to fumble what he places in your hands. And when you finally surrender, when you truly let go of trying to force it, prove it, or rush it, something beautiful happens. You find rest. Not the kind of rest that comes from sleep, but the kind of rest that anchors your soul. You stop striving and start trusting. You stop chasing and start aligning. And that's when you see the supernatural unfold. Because God moves most mightily when we get out of the way. When we take our hands off the wheel and say, Lord, have your way. We give him room to do what only he can do. Understand this, your job is obedience. God handles the outcome. You don't have to know every step to take the first one. You don't have to have the whole plan to trust the promise. All you need is the faith to show up. Show up in excellence. Show up in expectation. Show up even when you're unsure. Because God can breathe on your effort and turn it into something extraordinary. He can multiply what looks like little. He can use what others overlooked. But he only blesses what you bring to him. So stop waiting for the perfect condition. Just move when he says move. Go when he says go. And rest in the truth that if God wants it to happen, it will. Nothing and no one can stop it. Not your fear, not your past, not even you. Let that truth settle deep in your soul today. If God wants it to happen, it will. You don't have to force it, stress over it, or manipulate anything. Just stay faithful, stay available, stay open, because your peace is not found in knowing the outcome. It's found in knowing the one who holds it. And if God is for you, nothing can stand against you. So breathe, relax, and walk forward in confidence. The plan is still in motion. The promise still stands. And the God who began the good work in you will be faithful to complete it.